Even if I don't believe it's true, it's true to them.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Like if your mama is ugly, and it's true she ugly, like she's universally ugly. Like nobody would see your mama and say she's pretty. But to you, like how am I go up to you and say your mama ugly?
The following is my conversation with Pastor AD3, along with his wife, Lady J. They lead a congregation in Kansas City, Missouri called City of Truth Church. You'll find more about them at the City KC, at Pastor AD3, at Go Lady J. Well, I'm out of breath. I was able to ride with them on their shuttle as we took sort of a field trip around the new area where their building is. They just got into a new building that is now their permanent home base. They've had temporary homes over the last 7 years. In this conversation, we talk about a few things like leadership, validation, ultimate justice, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And I wanted to have this conversation with somebody I respect and I like, and somebody I go way back with. Pastor AD3 is somebody I know to have integrity, that I know to be a man of faith, but also a man of growth and connection, and somebody that really wants to be relevant in the way that they see their spiritual life, especially with somebody that doesn't have the same faith. So I know you'll get a lot from this conversation. Stick around to the end. My camera's a little blurry because we have some technical difficulties, but I'm sure you'll get past that and you'll make it all the way through. Give me a like, give me a subscribe. Follow me at I Am Craig Smith. I'll see you at the end. Like, you're in a new building right now.
Right.
Do you feel like you could have seen this? Like in this with this idea of purpose and I guess predestination?
I don't think I could see this in a sense of like prophetic foresight, like
Yep.
I seen this coming, but I think I saw this through like the lens of hope. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I didn't necessarily see this, but I saw something.
Right.
And that something that I saw is what kept me going.
Yeah.
You kind of get what I'm saying? Kind of like that whole light at the end of the tunnel thing.
Right,
you know what I'm
right.
saying? So I didn't know specifically like where I was going, what it was, but
But you knew you would see the light
I
eventually.
knew I'd come out on the other end, you know, somehow. So that was that hope that kind of kept me.
Yeah. Just from what I know of you, how has just the concept of change affected your hope, affected your, I want to say faith. I think faith and hope are two different things.
Yeah.
I think we run on hope,
Yeah.
and then faith is sort of like an energy that surrounds that. Yeah. So how has change, and I guess you walked through the wilderness for a while, like without having a forgive that like analogy, but now you're settled, I guess personally, vocationally, like how has change shaped how you view process?
Yeah. I was telling somebody else the other day, like as difficult as the journey was, I don't think I would trade anything. I think the journey made me better. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I think things were prepared in advance. I think there were works that are prepared in advance for me to do. I think scripture teaches that. But I think even though those things were prepared in advance, I necessarily wasn't prepared for them. And so I think this wilderness experience, like you described it, or this journey, this process, these changes that I went through, you know, just all the no's and the disappointments and the, being blindsided by inconvenience.
Right.
I think all those things kind of refine me as a man, as a husband, as a leader,
Yeah.
to prepare me for what's been prepared, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. So I don't think I would. Actually, I know I wouldn't trade anything because I feel like I'm in a better place emotionally, mentally,
Yeah.
maturation-wise. Like
Yeah.
I'm just a totally different person. And sometimes I'll be thinking like, Lord, I thank you that you didn't do for
didn't
me,
give me what I wanted
when I wanted it. Godly, because there's no way.
Yeah, would have been able to handle
Oh
it.
my goodness, no
Oh my
way.
God. I had this issue where I was looking at my past self with a lot of disdain and like loathing, like just embarrassed. You know, like really, I didn't know I could traumatize myself. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, that's
just
good,
looking at decisions or responses, especially responses and reactions, and being like, why are you like to use such a piece of shit? Like what, you know?
Why'd you do that? Why'd you say that?
Right.
Why did you?
Then looking at self now, knowing that the process includes a lot of like moments of confidence, but then moments of embarrassment, but then moments of, I think I'm finally at a point where I'm trusting myself. with myself
Yeah.
and with the things that I want out of life.
Yeah.
But one thing I've always admired about you and there's several things I've always admired about you, but one thing I've always admired about you is your ability to forge ahead and take people with you. And I was actually talking to my ex-wife yesterday about something similar to this. I think I turned off the vision and the mission because I didn't trust myself. And now I'm trying to get that back.
Yeah.
Like that, the idea of saying, we're going west.
Yeah.
And everybody is just supposed to be like, all right, like, you know, like I'm discovering leadership right now.
Yeah.
But it seems like you naturally have that.
Dog. I mean, leaders are born, but I think more than leaders being born, they're created, bro. Like as many times as I've second guessed myself, or like you said, your language, didn't trust myself. I think that's, like you said, that's a part of the process because of the way that I got into leadership and, you know, through tragedy and being so young and having to lead people who are so much older than me, who are old enough to be my parents. And I was always looking for like that extra validation, you know, so even if I knew we were going right, let's say we're going west, even if I knew that's where we're supposed to go, I would need to turn around and say, is that okay? You know what I'm saying? And the crazy thing is, if it was 10 people in the room and 9 of them were okay with it, but one person wasn't,
I
would focus on the one person that wasn't, even though I knew that this is the direction because like
why did that happen? Like, why does that? Why is that a mechanism in our brain?
I think that's just the human experience. I think that the human experience is we were created to be loved. We were created to be cared for. We were created to be nurtured. We were created for someone to show us compassion and care. And I think we interpret that we could have 100 people on our side, but that one person, that one negative thing, I think sticks with us because somewhere deep inside of our soul, like we want complete and utter validation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then that one person who doesn't validate us gets us in our head like, man, maybe causes that doubt. You know what I mean? Kind of like Adam and Eve in the whole Genesis narrative, where it was like the enemy was like the snake, the serpent was like, did God really say this?
Did he really say that?
Did he really say that? And it's just like, did he?
I always thought that was interesting because the rationale for God keeping that from them was he knows that if you eat it, you will be like him. Right. I take it back to survival. You know, if our biological imperative is to stay alive, that like one person is a threat to my survival. What are they gonna say about me? That threatens my livelihood, that threatens my reputation, and then I won't be able to eat. I won't be like, that's just the fight or flight that goes on inside. But he knows you'll be like God. I wonder if that points to like some idea that we know that there is more up here and in here that can transcend, and the shortcut to it is just so toxic that, like, I mean, social media, everything, instant gratification is a way into that new enlightenment. I know things now. I can tell you a story about did you hear what happened? You know what I mean? Like that whole idea
I know
flows
things.
from that.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. I've never thought about it like that. I like that. That makes total sense. Like when people die, like wanting to be the first one to release the information.
Right. And a screenshot of the last messages you sent with them.
That's. Yeah, I can see that.
Because see, now this is the rabbit hole I go down.
Yeah, I'm with you. Let's go.
What does I want? He knows you'll be like him mean when him is somebody different.
Right.
Following, like, if God to you is a whole lot of money, and you worship at the altar of a whole lot of money. Like everything you do is going to be in the service of looking like you got a whole lot of money. You know, like you go and you shop at Louis Vuitton. That's their shortcut to looking like you are, you know, righteous in this financial church that you set up.
I think that idea of he knows you'll be like him. I think
because it's a lie. I'm sorry.
Yeah, what a lot of people miss is that Adam was already like him. He was already created in his image and likeness. Already, I'm going to create let us make man in our image and our likeness. So the issue, the tree that the Lord kept him from was the knowledge of good and evil. Not necessarily just knowing it, but being able to choose what's good for me and what's not good for me. It's like you say I can have this, but I don't want this. I want this. And so I think that's the thing that was so enticing.
Is that the first like dream that was sold?
Yeah, like
the first dream
hey,
that was
you can
sold.
have what you want. Like, don't let him stop you from eating.
You can
like,
do whatever you
You
want.
can do what you want to do. You decide what you
Yeah.
want to. You decide what you want your life will be like. You decide where you
Is
want to
there
go.
freedom in that though?
The freest a fish will ever be is in the environment it was created to be in. As soon as you take the fish from the environment it was created to be in, whether it thinks it's free or not, it dies. So I think freedom is not having boundaries. I think freedom is having the right ones. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So freedom is having the right parameters.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because people can be like, I'm free to do this, I'm free to do this. Well, if your freedom says you can kick, you know what I'm saying? Your freedom says that you can rape this person, but you know what I'm saying? Like, who defines freedom? And I think, me personally, being a Christian, I think that it's God that sets those boundaries and those parameters. And I'm free to move about the cabin as much as I want within those parameters.
But you're still flying.
I'm still in the air. As soon as I get out, let me get out of that plane. What happens to me? I don't have wings. But if a bird who was created to be in the sky got out of the plane, it could fly. Not me. That's not my environment.
Yeah.
So I could be free to jump, but I'm also free to die.
This feels like a much more gracious example of what that looks like.
Yeah.
The environment of society when it comes to faith, I think that a lot of people run from it because because it's not that in most contexts.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, and there are certain environments where God is presented as stay in this plane, or not only am I going to kill you, I'm going to suffocate your legacy and I'm going to burn you in a pit of fire. Is there too much emphasis on punishment and restrictions, broadly speaking? Like, how do you see that, I guess, pendulum swinging?
The emphasis on God's punishment and condemnation has been used as a tool of control for so long, because fear, unfortunately, can get people to do things that they don't necessarily want to do.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you really look at the gospel, you see that it was God himself who took the punishment.
Right. Did it scared.
He did it, so we won't have to. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, he took the full cup. He drank the full cup. He took the punishment. He took the penalty. He took the condemnation so that we don't have to. So I think as the church, instead of trying to manipulate and control and move people through fear, I think that we should try and liberate people through faith and preaching the gospel of grace. That's what Paul calls it, the gospel of grace. Like, hey, I'm messed up, you're messed up, but guess what? Guess who's not? God. Guess who's the perfect sacrifice for us being messed up? God.
Yeah.
And let's just follow him, not necessarily organized religion, or not,
You mean like that's not the point?
Yeah, that's not the point. The point is Jesus. Let's look like him. Let's follow him. Let's act like him. Let's move like him. Let's look at him as the example of how we should even communicate the nature of God to others. Like Jesus says, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. Like, what did Jesus do? Jesus came across, the story, the woman who was caught in adultery. Jesus kneels down and says, hey, where are the people who was trying to kill you? They're gone.
Right.
Like, they're not here to condemn you, and neither am I.
And are you saying you think that should be more at the core of the conversation?
Yes, I think so. I think not even just at the core. Like, I think that should be the conversation. Like, what else are we talking about here?
Rules and regulations.
What else are we talking about? You know what I mean? Like, like, rules are written on people's hearts. Like, intrinsically, people know, for the most part, like, the laws are written on the hearts of mankind. Like, it's wrong. You know what I mean? Like, we be in deep, me and my wife be in deep conversation. Like, we're watching these documentaries I love crime documentaries, like true crime documentaries,
I
serial
gotta do a
killers.
poll on like if it seems like pastors gravitate toward that.
I don't know why. I just like the detectives figuring it out. You see the people on there crying for justice, crying for justice.
Yeah.
And you're like, that has to be a microcosm of a bigger cry for justice. Like, why is justice so important here on earth? It has to be important. It has to be bigger somewhere else. Like, why am I crying for, like, why couldn't they just kill my daughter? Why am I at the courthouse begging the judge and the jury
Yeah.
to convict?
Like, why is there a follow-up
Why-
to make the world, is it to make the world right? Is
Yeah.
it to make,
Because people know it's broken. Intrinsically, you know that it's broken. You know it is. You know this is not right.
Yeah.
You know that's not right. That's why you want that guy to be punished because he did something wrong. Where does that come from? That comes from a higher justice. And so we be just in deep thought when I watch this stuff. I'm like, man, like
yeah,
I feel it.
higher justice? I've never thought about that. What would justice be if, like, from a higher So when I hear that, go ahead.
Ultimate justice.
Ultimate justice.
Ultimate, the ultimate destruction of evil. Ultimate, not temporal, not throw them away for 45 years, not electric chair, not lethal injection. I'm talking the ultimate destruction of all things that have come against God's creation. Sin, disease, there's an ultimate. So we're seeing these microcosms of justice. Black Lives Matter. We're seeing people cry out for justice. Like we're seeing it because justice is the cry of God. Like God not only is a God of love, a God of grace, he's also he's a just God that he will judge perfectly. He will judge perfectly. He will.
I think this is probably where I'm going to obsess for the next week. But I've been reading like conservative books, like, because I wanted to get the other side. Like, it just didn't make sense to me. Why would somebody believe these things? And they, from my point of view, they sort of pervert this idea of fallenness in the world and make it to mean, and make it out to be something that stifles growth, innovation, progress of any kind, because we have a set of rules and let's just follow those, and every other attempt to make anything better is unnecessary. That is the base of the conservative argument.
So any type of progression
politically.
is.
It's just, well, why are you trying to do all of that?
Why are you trying to, yeah.
We already have a set of rules, laws, constitution that
let's
worked.
just keep it.
Like, let's just keep it
leave it
how it
alone.
was. Like, don't make it hot, right? And that comes from this idea of fallenness from Scripture.
Right.
They take it to mean something else. I think they take it too far. I don't think they take it to mean something else. They take it too far. And for me, especially in this conversation about justice, I told you, like, I'm just obsessed with this idea that time, Einstein posited that time existed all at once at the moment of creation. So if that's true, then, like, what's the shape of it? Like, if all of time exists as a thing already and God is seeing all of it, like, we can't wrap our minds around that because we're in time.
Right.
We're experiencing one slice of the apple at a time. But God, like, looking at the apple, all of it, sees it all. But I started to think about how we think about it like he sees this right now, but it's more encompassing than that. Like, if you could see like everything and every moment all at once, that's like a cellular level, like you cannot compute that.
Yeah, that's deep.
It's crazy to think about. So when you think about all of creation, all of time, all of space, and then you add this idea of justice to it, I've been in conflict with the idea of righteousness. And I think that's where this is falling for me, because the idea of righteousness looks at each moment or each occurrence of some sort of human interaction as a moment to measure it some kind of way. And if you look at the immeasurable, I always have a hard time trying to reconcile the two. How does it benefit a growing world to continue to seek, I guess, damn it, I already know you already answered it. It's environment, it's boundaries that scale in a identifiable way. Like if a fish is outside of water, then it's, I feel like I'm rambling, but my mind is like.
I hear you. Yeah, you deep. I like you, but you always have been, always been like a thinker.
Yeah.
Like a thinker, will go deep in something. And I like that. I always loved that about you. As a Christian, I believe that there are some things that are true and that are going to be true, will always be true. And I think truth has to be the basis of any type of change or progression. You know what I'm saying? So let's say for instance, marriage. I was just talking to them about marriage. Although people are free to define marriage however they want to, free, those are quotations. You got will, you can do what you want. You know what I'm saying? The truth of the matter is, what I believe to be true is what has been established. Marriage is between one man, one woman, in covenant in the sight of God. Now, Congress could pass a law that says it's something else, but that doesn't change it
For you.
for me.
Right.
That doesn't change it for me.
Yeah.
It's true. So we can call that progress all you want, but
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
So my issue with righteousness is the misalignment of reality outside of the belief system. So it's the thing about, that old question, so what happens to the Muslims when they die, right? Yeah. Like, can two things be true and everybody be at peace?
Two things can definitely be true.
Two conflicting things. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one gets to the Father through me.
Yeah, that's.
And then somebody who doesn't believe that.
that.
Not in the cosmic sense, not in the spiritual sense, but here on this earthly plane as we live together, the thing that gets in the way, from my observation, of harmony is this idea that two things can't be true.
Two things can be true. I believe that. Two things can be true. But like you said, with the closed hand, open hand argument, I think that when Christ says, I am the way, the truth, and the life, I think that that's true. And then anything else that says anything contrary, I think that's absolutely true. And anything else that says anything contrary is absolutely not true. It's a lie.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean I can't live in harmony
with somebody who
has their own truth or their own absolute. That doesn't mean I can't sup with them. That doesn't mean I can't sup. Where did that word come from?
I mean,
in the Bible.
You might have just coined it.
It's in the Bible, actually. It is literally in the Bible. King James Version. Yeah, literally. I don't know. I've never said that word ever in my life, Craig. I don't even know why. I've never used that word
This is
ever.
an argument for divine intervention right now.
Who says that? I'm 40,
Constantine
black.
said it.
I don't know Negroes say sup. Only time we say sup is sup.
Oh, yeah.
Sup. You know what I'm saying? No, but
you might have started something.
yeah, but that doesn't mean I can't love and live in harmony and embrace and have a discussion with, and you know what I mean? But there are certain truths that are absolute. So if this is an absolute truth, then anything that's contrary to that is a lie.
That's where I think that's where I see a lot of the smoke coming from in the world. Yeah. Because you call it a lie to somebody that doesn't know that you're just saying it's a lie to you.
Yeah. I don't think I would. Now in a conversation with somebody.
Well, not you. Right now you're the avatar for Christendom.
Yeah, okay.
Right? You're not gonna say it, but somebody's on the comment thread.
Yeah, I think there's a proper way to be respectful of someone's beliefs. As a Christian, I'm speaking as a Christian. Just because I know the truth, that doesn't mean that what they believe is not true to them. Even if it's not true, even if I don't believe it's true, it's true to them.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Like if
The
your mama is
conflict
ugly,
always-
and it's true she ugly, like she's
But she's not ugly to
universal.
you.
She universally ugly. Like nobody would see your mama and say she's pretty. But to you, like how am I go up to you and say your mama ugly? Like you believe. Now we can have a conversation and then maybe it'll
I
come
like
up.
this analogy though. So let's say that's the scenario. And you have been talking to your friends. And it just came up.
It just came
that
up.
your mother is,
She not cute.
she's
man.
not pretty.
She's not, like nobody thinks she is.
But they know this guy.
Yeah.
And they say, hey, your mother is ugly. Everybody's saying it.
See, that's we gotta.
It's almost unavoidable to me, it's almost unavoidable when the language is truth and lie, righteousness versus wickedness, good and evil. It's unavoidable to have that tension.
Yeah.
My Save the World mission is always trying to figure out like how you have conversations about truth and about existence and reality and everything that include.
That's hard. That's hard to do. And I don't necessarily think that should be, speaking from a Christian perspective, I don't think that's my number one goal.
Yeah.
Because that's difficult. Like you're dealing with, like when you start to deal with truth, like the tension is gonna be there. So I don't think we should endeavor to have conversations void of tension, because then I don't think that's reality.
You're right.
I think we could have conversations with tension, but respectfully, and want to hear and listen and understand people's life and perspective. And like people didn't, like you didn't just get to, I'm not a Christian anymore. You just didn't wake up and,
Actually, I did.
oh, okay.
It was wild.
What I mean by that is there were things that,
There were breadcrumbs, sure.
led up to this. Like you didn't just, you know what I mean? Like you came to this conclusion in different seasons and spans, and certain things happen, and you're like, you know what? I'm not a Christian as defined by. Do you still believe that there's a God?
Yeah, I think it's way weirder than we think it is, though.
You on your pathway just like everybody
man.
else. You on your journey?
Yeah, let's have more of these.
Yeah, absolutely. My God.
I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. Again, you can follow him at Pastor AD3. They're opening their new facility, their new building in Kansas City, Missouri, after 7 years of being out there setting up and tearing down every Sunday. They're opening that up this Sunday, actually. It'll be August 11th. And you can support them. Please go support them with a follow at least. Like and subscribe and come back for more thought-provoking, educational, connecting, growing that we do on this channel. And shoot me a DM if you're in Kansas City. Let's get together.